Hello, everybody. My name is Laura, and you're watching the Beanbird 2 channel. And today I'm going to be giving the shorter version of my testimony of baptism of the Holy Spirit. This is the short form. I have a long version that I recorded yesterday that's 20 minutes, and this is not also a teaching. This is just my testimony of what happened to me. When I was 7 years old, I was baptized with water at a non-denominational church. And they baptized me in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I went under the water through an immersion baptism, and it was a baptism that I had made the decision to follow Jesus, and I wanted to dedicate my life to him. And it truly was something that I meant. I knew what I was doing when I did it, even when I was 7. And I did hear from the Lord and worship the Lord and tithe and try to follow in obedience. And I believe that I had a very active relationship with God at that point. Now, something significant happened in my life when I was around 20. I had a series of dreams, and each one of those dreams revealed that in some way my life was in danger. And I was aware that these dreams were from God. They happened sequentially, one after another. The third dream, I remember very clearly even this day. I was walking down some train tracks, and I was appeared to be all alone on these train tracks in the woods when suddenly I looked up and there was a train there. And at the last moment, I was pushed out of the way and I was saved. Every dream had the same theme. I was unaware, there was a danger, and then I was saved. But I definitely knew that there was something coming up that was a danger to me. And as I was seeking the Lord, what am I in danger of? I didn't know what the source of this danger was. I just knew that God was trying to warn me about something, so I was praying about it. And I have a friend who I had known a long time that went to my church, and she had a friend that was who I call Pentecostal Debbie. And she was a Pentecostal friend that I had met one time because she was a friend of a friend. So I had met her that one time and she was really nice, but my friend would refer to her friend as Pentecostal Debbie. So one day I got a phone call after these series of dreams that my friend was telling me that Pentecostal Debbie had called her and told her, "You need to warn Laura that her life is in danger." And she didn't have any other details than that. And I had only met Debbie one time, and I didn't really know her, and she didn't really know me. But when she said my life was in danger, I instantly knew that these dreams that I had been having there was a relationship there because I was praying about it, and she was just confirming those dreams to me, basically. And later, I did find out that the source of danger did come to pass. I found out that my boyfriend was cheating on me, and when I confronted him, he pulled out a knife. And when he pulled out a knife, I started preaching the gospel, and I just felt like that's what I needed to do. And when I did that, he took the knife and pulled it on himself instead of me. And then he said, "Leave my house right now or else I'll kill myself." And I did. But in that moment, I knew that was the moment that the Lord was warning me about. That was the moment for the dreams and Pentecostal Debbie was warning me about. And what that really showed me was there is something to this. I had been in a non-denominational Baptist church my whole life, and I had never experienced someone having a word of knowledge before. This was a completely new thing to me, and I thought, I don't know, aren't Pentecostals weird? Like, how did she know that that was going to happen? And it was just a completely different idea that the gifts of the Spirit and that God works today in those ways that we saw in reading the New Testament. So that stuck in my mind as like a big deal. And it gave a lot of credibility to Assemblies of God and the Pentecostal denomination. Now, I don't want to make this a denominational video. This isn't about separating the flock or the people or saying anything about that. I'm just showing my own journey of how I was in this denomination. And to me, I didn't know anything about the gifts manifesting today in that way. It was new. So 20 years later, in 2019, I began to feel like the Lord was calling me into something different, a growth. And I wasn't really sure what that was. And so we started seeking a lot of different churches, and a lot of the ones that we went to were other Baptist churches. And I just felt like it wasn't where God was leading me to. And it was just this feeling of, this isn't it. go to the next church. This isn't it either. And finally I thought, we have to do something completely different, because we've been to 10 different churches and all of them are basically the same, and yet I feel like there's something different that God is drawing me to. So we did a search for local churches that were Pentecostal churches in our area. And the reason why I did that was because I was remembering Pentecostal Debbie from 20 years ago, and I knew that there was something there. So I did that. We found a church nearby. We went and we visited, and within walking in the door, we hadn't even talked to the first person yet, and I knew immediately, this is the place. This is where God was leading me. And so the pastor and his wife invited us over for dinner, and we talked with them. We shared our background and our history. And while I was there, he asked me if I wanted to be baptized in the Holy Spirit and if anybody had ever prayed for me like that before. And I said, no, I hadn't ever been prayed for like that before, which was true. But I was water baptized and I was a believer. I did have a relationship. I did hear from God, but I had never had anybody pray for me like that. And he asked me if I would like him to pray for me in that way. And I definitely was all for it. Yes, absolutely. I will take that prayer. And I didn't know exactly what to expect, but I knew that if there was a way to have a deeper infilling of the Holy Spirit, I wanted it. So we went into the living room, and he and his wife prayed for us. And that's what that is. It's a prayer. It's a prayer from another Christian who has been baptized in the Holy Spirit. And like a flame lighting another flame. I mean, I believe I already had a flame, because I was a believer. But somehow that prayer changed my life to a level that I never even thought was possible before, because when he prayed for me, I didn't feel anything initially. It just felt like a prayer, but I believed that I wanted that baptism of the Holy Spirit. And so he asked me afterward, if I felt the desire to, pray in tongues. Like, he wanted me to feel free to express that. And at that moment, I didn't really feel anything. And he said, well, it's not a feeling. So if you want it, and I did, and I prayed for you to receive it, he said, then you have to believe that you did receive it. Now walk in it. And I just loved the faith that statement made, showing, walk out that faith. Like, don't wonder, like, did I receive it? Did I not? Does God want to give it to me? Maybe he doesn't want to give it to me. God does want to give it to you. And nobody's excluded. It's available to everyone. Everyone can be prayed for. But when he prayed, I did notice things change in my life. The next day, when I was in prayer privately, I did pray in tongues in a prayer language, which isn't the same as corporate interpretation, but just a private prayer language between me and the Lord. And I'd never done that before. And then after that, I felt this desire for sanctification. And that's a big word, but basically what it means is I wanted to please God in deeper ways than I ever had before. And I found that the more I tried to live a holy life by eliminating Netflix and Hulu and different movies and secular music and toys that were, not appropriate, I found that the more that we cleansed our home of these things, the more I could hear from God, the more he was revealing himself to me. So it has been a wonderful journey, and I want to encourage anybody here who's listening, if somebody offers to pray for you to receive an infilling of the Holy Spirit, definitely say yes. I mean, it's such a beautiful blessing, and it's changed my life. And now I feel like even closer to God than ever before. So just wanted to give that testimony. I hope it blessed you today. Thank you. See you tomorrow.